Well, thanks for joining me on another episode of Flip and Cliff. This week, we got the Life 78 Suburban in here. Factory 454 big block truck. It's got a pretty crappy quadrigen I put on it years ago when we bought this, just to make it run. We're going to upgrade that and throw an intake and good carburetor on it. It's already got a set of long tube headers and dual exhaust. It's got purple hornies on it. That's the wife's muffler of choice. We're going to see if we can get this thing run a little better and perform a little better. I mean, it's a stock big block from 78. It's not going to be spectacular. But this thing's not in bad shape. Pretty cool looking guts of patina. We use it for pulling the camper, the wave runners, pretty much everything. We'll get you in here and get this thing taken apart and see what we can do with it. Okay, step one's going to be let's get some antifreeze draining and see what this looks like. While that's draining, we can get some of this other stuff tore off here. Hang on to it. Why is this aimed the wrong direction? There we go. Come off of there. Jesus. Let's see here, we're gonna get that fitting out the back. I think that's like a 5/8. Can't see what I'm doing. All right, curve is out of the way. See if we can get this moved around to not in the way. Everything's going to catch on that. I don't know what in the world that's even mounted to. Mounted to the very back of the motor, I think. That's kind of a not ideal way of doing that. Okay, I think we got plenty of coolant out of here. We can shut this off. Okay, we got to loosen up that alternator and get that top bracket off of here. 1/2 inch on the top bolt. 9/16 on the bottom. There it goes. 9/16 on this one. Almost dropped that nut. Lock washer on there. Of course, it's not loose enough to just tear with your fingers. Why would it be? Now it is. Now we're getting somewhere. We're making a little progress here. And of course, that's not a quarter. Keep that up a little higher so it doesn't drain everything out of the heater core. Why is everything a different size? Every hose clamp on here is a different size. Of course, that's got to make a mess. And that's 9/16 not half. We're going to need that stuff for the other intake. Put that screwdriver back here. Get this distributor cap off so we can pull the distributor out. Oh, let's see here. We want to unhook some plug wires. That's number 1. And that's 7. Chance of me remembering which one was which when we put it back on, pretty slim. But we'll figure that out. Okay, take note of which way the rotor's pointing right at that little stud bolt right back there. Where's the actual distributor wrench? Maybe we can get it with a normal 9/16. I don't know. Now we got something moving. Why is this so tight? There we go. Gasket stayed on the intake. I may have to go get one of those. Oh, that's nice. How long has that been loose and leaking vacuum like a sieve, huh? That's good when there's no pipe tape or anything on the fitting and you can just unscrew it with your fingers. I'm sure I'm going to need this fitting for the cooling hose. I should probably attempt getting that out now while the intake is still fastened or something. 7/8. Knock some more stuff down. Gonna need that for the next one anyways. Now we just gotta take out all the 9/16 bolts holding intake down. Well, I wasn't trying to throw it on the floor, but that's where it ended up. Oh, I forgot about this front hose. I'm not used to big block stuff. Normally it's small block, and they don't have that. Throw everything on the floor today. Yep. See, the little nut thing wants to spin on this antique El Cheapo hose clamp. Hold still now so I can get it's loose enough. Well, that's just tearing, so I might as well just cut it and go over it. There we go. Pry that up a little bit, get her busted loose. There we go. my God, is that heavy? Good God. Whoa. That's like an 80-pound intake. I don't see any bad cam lobes or anything, so that's a plus. Good Lord, I can't believe that was so heavy. That intake had to be a good 50 pounds. Crazy. The one I'm putting on there is, I don't know, 5? Okay, we'll get back at it here and we'll wire wheel this, clean this gasket surface up. Then we'll vacuum out anything that we got down in the valley here. Well, that old gasket comes off of there hard. Wipe some of this nastiness off here. Okay, that cleaned up pretty good. We'll vacuum that up quick. All right, that doesn't look too bad. And I know. I knocked a bunch of stuff in there. It's going to plug something up. Everybody says that stuff. I've never had an issue. I vacuumed it out, cleaned it up good. I'm changing oil afterwards anyways. It'll be okay. I know it's not the proper way, but I got it done. Do a little unboxing here. Right on the Harley. That probably wasn't the best spot to throw that. Brand new air gap dual plane intake. It is Chinese, came from eBay. The cheapest one you can get. Well, in air gap anyways. I know it's not a factor. A good name brand aftermarket. It's the cheap Chinese version. They say the aftermarket ones, the name brand ones, flow better, make more performance, more horsepower, more torque. Seen a bunch of dyno videos on this stuff. Watch a lot of Richard Holdner's dyno stuff on YouTube. But this is a bone stock 454 from 78, so it's a crappy low horsepower, low compression motor. It's got long tube headers on it, stock cam and everything. We're not doing anything to make a bunch of performance out of this. Just want this to run better. And instead of putting an adapter on the spreadboard intake that was on here, why not just throw a decent intake on? I think this was, but we've had this for a while. I haven't gotten to this vehicle. $230 maybe. That sound right? something like that. So it was the cheapest way to go, and it'll work for what we need. We're going to test this, fit this, make sure it drops between the valve covers before I put my silicone down, and then we'll get her bolted on here. And it does. Flops right in there. Well, that's not good. It doesn't go far enough back. It's hitting the bracket for the cruise control. Well, that's not a plus. I guess we'll be crawling in there and taking that off. Well, that's one bolt out. I couldn't feel where the rest of them were. Maybe we can just bend that bracket back a little bit. Let's try that again now. What is keeping this from going back that far? Oh. Now it's the tab for a chain for pulling the motor. There's not one thing, that's another here. Now it fits. Okay, now we got something happening. I don't even have a spot for those. Okay, when you're doing the intake or gaskets on big block Chevy, small block Chevy, pretty much any old motor, they come with these valley gaskets, these little rubber pieces. So you want to do is take these, throw them in a garbage pile. They're useless. They're not going to stay there. They're not going to seal. Just will make life a pain in the ass. So what you want to do here is grab yourself a tube of good silicone. And that's what we're going to use for that valley. Got a little coolant that leaked down back here. Some people put a little bit around like these front ports just to get the gasket to stay there. Put a little around the back too, just to, I don't know if you can see my line there. Just want to get that gasket to stay where it's supposed to. Hold that in place for a second here. Try to get that to hang out with us. Now you want to try to get this in here in one nice drop so you're not moving the silicone all over the place. I think this one went here. Okay, so we have two problematic bolts. You can't get a socket on them. So now I got to find two bolts with a smaller head, apparently. Or maybe an Allen. An Allen would probably work, huh? There we go, new intake. Bring you on in here. We'll show you the proper amount of squish on the silicone there. Looks good. Okay, well, it looks like I'm going to have to go find two bolts. I also need a couple plugs for the intake here. We got some, I don't know, a massive amount of ports on this thing. Of course, that doesn't fit in there. Okay, well, we know what size that is. We can find one of those. Where is the one I took out of the intake? Right there it is. Okay, that's the proper size for that. So we need 3 more plugs of this size. Okay, well, it's looking like, oh, I need one for up here too. Well, that's going to be a bugger with a hose, isn't it? Well, I guess we go find ourselves some fittings and a couple of bolts. Don't forget to take these with, or I'm never going to remember the size. Well, we'll get a couple of things, and then we'll get this button back up here. See you in a bit. Okay, we're back from town. We got a couple of Allen head bolts here that'll fit in these spots where the intake is in the way. Not sure why they felt the need to make it like this, but whatever. Well, that's lovely. Apparently that cross-threaded, and that's just cute. Oh, shit. I guess we hope that doesn't leak. Otherwise, we drill it and tap it. We'll see what happens. Got some pipe plugs for all those fittings we're not using back there, all them holes rather. Let's see, where's the one I took out of there? Got a different one for the vacuum port back here. The other one didn't clear that. Snug all these back up. Knock the flashlight down. Perfect. Don't forget about that little vacuum fitting. Yep. This hose fit it. We'll make it fit it. Perfect. Alrighty, well, I'd say we're ready to drop the distributor in this thing. Do you guys remember which way this was pointing? Probably put the gasket on it, I guess. Forget this, we'll have a major oil leak and not know where it's coming from. That was one hole too far. Well, it's one too far, but that pipe plug, that hits too, for God's sakes. I think we're going to be okay because we got to have this further back than we had it before. Double check these, I guess. Gonna snug this just a little bit here. We want it so we can turn it, but not so it's flopping all over the place. Well, where in the hell did my power wire go? Put these plug wires back on. Ouch. Is that correct? Making sure I'm not missing anything here. Okay, what is going to be the next?